Yo, what's up, Mimi Fruits Adventurers? If you're looking to dominate the high seas and become the ultimate fruit-wielding pirate, you gotta have the best fruits gems can buy. But let's be real, how do you know if the fruit you just picked up is actually worth eating? Is it a game changer or just another dud? Well, don't worry, because we've got you covered. Today, we're breaking down the ultimate meme fruits fruit tier list. Whether you're looking for insane damage, crazy mobility, or the best utility in the game, we'll help you figure out which fruits are worth keeping and which ones you should toss overboard. So sit back, get ready, and let's dive into the world of meme fruits. I'm quickly moving on to the video, and I'm ranking fruits for PvP in meme fruits. Before we start, if you enjoy these types of list videos, don't forget to like the video and subscribe. Enjoy watching. The fruits for PvP in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right: rock, moai, bomb, and smoke. Alright, let's be real for a second. If you're using one of these fruits, you're either just messing around or you're in some serious need of an upgrade. Today we're diving into the C tier fruits of Meme C, the ones that are almost good, but still kinda trash. Some have their moments, sure, but let's not kid ourselves. These fruits are struggling. Let's break them down. First up, we've got rock. And honestly, this fruit is trying its best, but it's just not enough. The moving rock ability gives it decent mobility, which is cool and all, but what's the point if your damage is barely noticeable? Like, imagine throwing pebbles at your enemies and expecting them to be impressed. That's rock in a nutshell. Sure, the cooldowns are short, so you can keep throwing those pebbles, but at the end of the day, it's still pebbles. Next, let's talk about moai. And oh boy, this one's a meme in itself. The AoE is kinda okay, and you can pull off some combos, but that's where the fun stops. The cooldowns are too long, the damage is too low, and worst of all, the skills are stupidly easy to dodge. If you're playing PvP with this, just know that your opponents are probably laughing while effortlessly stepping to the side. Oh, and no mobility? Yeah, have fun walking everywhere. Now, bomb is an interesting one. Compared to the rest of these fruits, it actually has some solid AoE potential, and for grinding, it's not terrible. But here's the issue. It's just as predictable as the others. Every single skill is easy to dodge, which means in PvP, you're basically a walking target. And let's not forget zero mobility. If you get caught slipping, you're not escaping. Then we have smoke, which, at least it has flight? That's about all the good I can say about it. The cooldowns are short, which is nice, but when your damage and AoE are both this low, does it even matter? This is one of those fruits you pick up, use for 5 minutes, and then immediately regret. It's not unplayable, but it's definitely scraping the bottom of the barrel. So yeah, C-tier fruits, they exist. They've got some upsides, but they're mostly just there to make you wish you had something better. If you're using these, props to you for the dedication, but let's be real, you deserve better. Now, if you think one of these actually deserves a higher ranking, let me know in the comments. Otherwise, maybe start looking for a new fruit. The fruits for PvP in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, flame, potato, and water. Alright, so let's talk about the B tier fruits in meme fruits. These might not be the flashy, overpowered picks, but hey, they've got their charm and can be pretty fun if you know how to use them. So, let's break them down and see why they're not quite at the top, but still worth considering. First up, we've got flame. Now don't let the name fool you. It's not all about fireballs flying everywhere. This fruit has some solid combo potential, especially if you're good at aiming. Seriously, if you can land your shots, the damage adds up. The crowd control, CC, is nice too, which can give you the edge in fights, especially in tight situations. But here's the catch. You're gonna have to deal with long cooldowns. So, you better plan your attacks wisely. Plus, the damage output isn't as high as some of the higher tier fruits. Still, if you're looking for a versatile option and don't mind a bit of aim practice, flame can definitely be fun. Next, we've got potato. Yeah, you heard me right. It's a bit of an oddball, but it's surprisingly decent for grinding. It has solid AoE damage, which means it can take down groups of enemies pretty efficiently. The skills are useful for farming or clearing mobs, though there's a catch. Most of its attacks are pretty easy to dodge in PvP. So, it's not the best choice if you're looking to take on other players. Plus, there's the issue of no mobility. This fruit doesn't let you zoom around the map, so you're kinda stuck in one spot. But if you're just looking to power through PvE content, it gets the job done. Moving on to water, and oh boy, This fruit brings a lot to the table for something that's not super rare. The AoE damage is excellent, and it can clear waves of enemies without much hassle. Plus, you get flight, which is always a nice bonus for mobility. However, if we're being real here, the total damage is a bit lacking when compared to higher tier fruits. So, while it's got solid AoE and flight to keep you moving around, it won't hit as hard as some of the big names. Still, if you're okay with a little less damage and enjoy the freedom of flight, water can be a fun choice for some action. Now let's be clear, none of these fruits are game breakers. They're all more about versatility and having fun with different playstyles. Flame can set up some cool combos if you're good with aim and timing. Potato is a low-key grinding hero, and water lets you fly around and clear mobs like a champ. But if you're looking to completely dominate in PvP or just want the highest damage output, you might want to keep searching. The thing is, B-tier fruits still have their moments to shine, especially in the right hands. Flame's combos can wreck people who don't know how to dodge. Potato can grind like nobody's business, and water gives you that flying freedom. If you're not looking to rely on the top-tier fruits and want something more chill and adaptable, these are definitely worth a shot. So while you won't see these fruits topping any tier lists, they can be real fun and offer unique playstyles. Sometimes, it's nice to switch things up and try something that isn't a top-tier powerhouse, right? And who knows, with the right strategy, you might even surprise a few people with these underdog fruits. The fruits for PvP in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Popcat, Doge, Newbie, Floppa, and Light. Alright, let's dive right into it. Today we're talking about some solid A-tier fruits in Mimi Fruits. These are the picks that'll make you feel like a pro in the game, but they're not quite the game-breaking ones. Still, they've got their perks that can really make your gameplay smooth. So let's break down some of the fruits that are definitely worth considering. First up, we've got Popcat. Now, this one is pretty fun to play, but it's not exactly top tier. You've got solid crowd control, CC, with some combo potential, which is awesome for keeping enemies at bay. It also comes with flight, so you can swoop around the map, which is always a win. On the downside, the AoE skill is a bit of a letdown. It's super easy to dodge, especially in PvP, and while it's got decent survivability with its V skill, it lacks the damage to back up the hype. So it's a solid pick, but don't expect to be blowing through battles with it. Next, let's talk about Doge. If you like having a little army to help you out, this is the fruit for you. Doge summons a bunch of Doge mobs to fight for you, which is pretty hilarious and effective. It's got flight, and its AoE abilities make it amazing for grinding mobs. However, in PvP, you might find yourself outclassed by fruits like Doe, which can outrange you. And as much as Doge brings in the AoE action, it doesn't have a ton of CC, so it can struggle against enemies that need more control. Then there's Newbie, a fruit that's pretty underrated but still fun to use. Newbie lets you summon a newbie mob to fight alongside you, plus it's got flight, because who doesn't love flying? The AoE is quick and efficient, but the real kicker here is its CC skill, which is pretty powerful, but the range is so short that it's almost a joke in larger fights. PvP-wise, Newbie's combo potential is just too weak to be considered anything special, but if you're a fan of quick, high-output AoE, it's still got its moments. Now let's get into Floppa. I mean, come on. The name alone should tell you that this fruit has some personality. It's got solid AoE for grinding, and the combo potential is okay if you're skilled enough to land your hits. Plus, it's got flight, which we've already established is a big win in Mimi Fruits. The downside? It requires really good aim, and its X skill AoE can be pretty random. You never really know where it's gonna hit, so that's a bit of a gamble in a game where precision matters. Moving on to Light. This fruit is all about mobility and solid AoE. It's got range, good damage, and some really fast skills. When you're on the move, Light is a great choice to keep enemies on their toes. But the catch is, in PvP, most of its skills are fairly easy to dodge. If your aim isn't spot on, or if you're up against opponents who know how to move, Light's skills can miss more than you'd like. But when you land those hits, oh boy, they pack a punch. Now, let's go back to Doge for a sec. While I mentioned its lack of CC earlier, I should add that its mob summons are a huge advantage in larger scale fights. If you're fighting in a group, Doge becomes a powerhouse with its army of Doge mobs. Just keep in mind that PvP can be tough since it's outranged by some other fruits. Still, if you're grinding, it's hard to top Doge's AoE spread. Don't sleep on Popcat just because it's a little underwhelming damage-wise. Its solid CC and combo potential can actually make it pretty effective if you know how to play it right. Pair it with a teammate who's got more raw damage, and you'll find yourself controlling the battlefield with ease. It's not going to be a one-man army, but it's a great support option if you need that extra control. And that wraps up our rundown of A-tier fruits. These aren't the ones that will necessarily carry you to the top, but they can hold their own and are a lot of fun to play. The key with A-tier fruits is figuring out how to use them in your favor, especially with the skills and combos they offer. So, which one's your favorite? Let me know in the comments. The fruits for PvP in this tier are, in order from top left to bottom right, Curse, Dough, Ice, Dark, and Bingus. Alright, let's dive into the S-tier fruits in Mimi fruits, where things get seriously wild. If you've ever wondered which fruits really pack a punch and can carry you through both PvP and PvE, this is the list you've been waiting for. First up, we've got Curse. Now this one's like the Swiss Army knife of fruits. It's got everything. The AoE is chef's kiss for grinding, and those micro stuns? Absolutely perfect for PvP fights. What makes Curse even better is its range with skills like Dismantle and Fire Arrow, letting you hit from a distance while staying safe. But here's the catch. No mobility. So if you're caught off guard, well, you better pray your stuns are on point, because running isn't an option. Next, we've got Dough, and if you like to move, this fruit is for you. The moving donut skill lets you zip around the map with ease. Plus, the combo potential here is just nuts. With AoE and CC across almost every skill, you're going to be a nightmare in both PvP and PvE. That said, the damage isn't quite as insane as some of the other S-tier fruits. Still, its mobility and versatility make it a solid pick. Then there's Ice. Now let me tell you, Ice is like the underrated hero of the S-tier. The CC and AoE here are on another level, and the damage? Pretty solid across the board. It's one of the best epic fruits, no doubt, but here's the thing. As cool as Ice is, it does get outshined by some of the higher tier fruits in terms of raw damage. Still, for both PvP and PvE, this one's a beast. Now let's talk about Dark, which is kind of like the sneaky assassin in this group. It's got insane combo potential and micro stuns across all its skills, which makes it a deadly option in the right hands. The damage is fantastic for an epic fruit, and having flight just takes it up a notch. The downside? 2 of its skills are channeled, so you're vulnerable while using them. Also, the AoE DPS isn't exactly game-breaking, but hey, it's still an S-tier fruit for a reason. Let's get to Bingus, a fruit that's all about that single target damage. If you're the type who likes to wreck one opponent at a time, Bingus has got you covered. Its skills are fast, making combos a breeze, and the fact that it has flight is just icing on the cake. The downside? AoE is a little lacking, so if you need crowd control, this might not be your go-to choice. But for straight-up damage, Bingus is your guy. Each of these fruits is a powerhouse in its own right, but they all have their strengths and weaknesses that make them unique. If you're all about that AoE grind and stuns for PvP, Curse might be your best bet. If you're a fan of mobility and quick combos, Dough will feel like a dream. But if you want something that balances solid damage and CC, Ice is hard to beat. Dark brings insane combo potential and flight, making it a strategic pick. And finally, Bingus, with its quick casts and single target power, will always be a top-tier pick for those who like precision. So, whether you're stacking up for grinding or gearing up for that big PvP battle, these fruits are the ones you want on your side. Each one brings something unique to the table, so it's all about finding the playstyle that suits you best. Just remember, with great power comes great responsibility, so use them wisely. The video ends here. See you in another video. Don't forget to subscribe.